Negros, indios, nativos, somos los verdaderos israelitas.
¿Esto dónde lo dice, según el versículo?
Esto dice en la Biblia.
Show that Puerto Ricans love America, but that ain't reality.
Police attack was planned beforehand. Only white cops will sign.
Then our only resources to defend ourselves.
We tried to move people onto the sidewalk, but the police were all out for blood.
Another series of protests was staged by thousands of students, parents, and the Brown Berets. In June 1968, the group that had become known as the East LA 13 was released on bail.
Demonstrate to our people and we deserve better and that we could, get better.
I don't think there's ever been a time when we need more of the spirit of the young lords than today.
I guess we had no fear. We just did what we thought at the time was the right thing to do.
National captain of the Black Panther Party. They are making it their business through process arresting me and my wife, through a process arresting numerous Panthers on the block.
Police just went in and started beating them viciously. It was ugly. They were just yelling at us, you dirty spicks, dirty Mexicans, who do you think you are?
All right. Shalom, y'all. Bashim Shapakata to all the brothers and sisters out there. This is the ISUPK 125th Street, Harlem, New York City. This is the Inconvenient Truth, as always, every Wednesday. You know how we're doing. We're putting it down right here, baby.
Negros, indios, nativos, somos los verdaderos israelitas.
¿Esto dónde lo dice, según el versículo?
Esto dice en la Biblia. Está escrita en la Reina Valera.
We got to live in this district. The whiteys don't come down here, man, and live in the fucked up houses, man. The whiteys don't come down here, man, and have all the fucked up fucking no heat in the fucking winter time. You understand? We do, Jack. So therefore, like, wow, we got to make it a better place. You understand that?
Like they want to make it a racial problem, So we didn't want that, So I jumped in, I put in for my boy, because he's a black brother. So we made an unracial problem.
We the Puerto Ricans should rise up and defend ourselves against these dogs. The North American is trying to steal our identity as Puerto Ricans and call us Americans. We Puerto Ricans are Puerto Ricans till the day we are born, until the day we die.
Chicanos killing Chicanos is what they want. Blacks and Chicanos killing each other is what they want. That's how they run this place. Once we get together, they don't run shit.
all right. The water for joining me. Shalom Yahweh Shimi Ashar Bakatah. As always, this is our Thursday night class, The Inconvenient Truth. Man, what is it, like 6 years strong? You know what I'm saying? Without a day, you know what I mean? We're always here putting down this heavy truth. We thank everybody for joining us. As always, man, comment, share this page, join in. Let's talk about it. Let's see what's going on. You know, always something happening, man, especially to us, little Latinos, blacks, and Native American Indians, man. We the ones in this pot and this boiling up, and we the ones getting the bad end of the stick. But you know what? That's what we're here for. We're here to talk about it. We're here to make change. We're here to, you know what I mean? We're here to pick up where our ancestors left off. Those who were trying to do something positive for us and left off on that note where, you know, it just seemed like nothing was going right. But you know what? We're here to pick it up, man. We're here to, it cannot fall away. It cannot be forgotten. We're not just going to lay here and let it go to waste. Everything that our ancestors went through was for something, and that's what we're here for. We're here to pick it up. Most High in Christ for Commanding General Yohana, the ISUPK, all the generals, all the troopers, all the officers, all the captains who put in this work, you know what I'm saying? And help us to stand up once again, lower that volume, stand up once again and make this happen. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's all about. I'm here with Malakma today. Malakma, Shalom Yahweh Bashim Shepaktam. That's what's up, man. And you know, like I said, join in, man. Come on in. Let's talk about it. Let's see what's going on. You know, there's always something happening. And that's what we're here for. We're here to wake up our people, wake up Black, Hispanics, and Native American. And that's what the ISUPK does. That's what the brothers do. This particular show, you know how I do it, man. I'm here to pick up the raza. I'm here to, you know, show the raza which way to go with this. Our Judite brothers and sisters are doing a fantastic job on waking up. You know what I mean? The Judite brothers, the Dominicans, what is that? The Haitians. You know what I'm saying? Right. Our Black brothers and sisters, man, they're doing an excellent job on waking up to this truth. But what about La Raza? What about us? When are we gonna wake up? When are we gonna pick up? When are we gonna do our thing? And let me tell you something. We are a sleeping giant. The day Raza wakes up and comes together with our Judite and the rest of the tribes, man, we're going to be unstoppable. And let me tell you something. That's what we need right now. We need to become unstoppable because the way things are going for the Hispanic brothers and sisters, it just seems like we don't get a break. Man, we're going to go into our first topic today. What is that rapper called, man? I don't even know. What's that? The Tigger? Tiger, man. We're going to go into Tiger today. You know what I mean? Because it seems like while we're trying to unite Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians, we got a counterpart. Our own brothers and sisters, they're trying to divide us. They're coming out with this garbage that what it does, it incites hate between us, between Black and Hispanic. Right. You know what? There's already been enough hate between Black and Hispanic for years. I remember going to high school, being in school, and having the issues between Black and Hispanics all throughout the 80s and the 90s. It was a war zone for Black and Hispanics, at least here in the West Coast. That's what it seemed like. That's all we had. That's all we could see. You know what I'm saying? Blacks and Hispanics going out. It was a hate thing between us. And now that the streets have calmed down somewhat, now we got these rappers doing this ignorance of doing the same thing, inciting hate between us. And let me tell you something. There's no room for how could I say, minimal. Because they're saying, well, it's really nothing, man. You know, I'm just, if you got that video, let's get it. So, you know, they're saying, well, it's not really nothing, man. You know, it's no big deal. It's this and that. But when people, you know, when people get up and say something or they stir something up and there's a response, then it's not minimal. It's something. It's something that has to do with people's point of view or how people perceive things. And the way we perceive some of these things that are being done today is inciting hate between Black and Hispanics. Me, myself, I'm not for the hate between Black and Hispanics. On the contrary, I've learned to speak to try to unite us. Okay. Now, I know I kind of focus on the Hispanic, narrative all the time, but it's because I love my Hispanic people and I know how far we are from waking up to this truth. You know what I'm saying? We still want to be Christians. We still want to be Catholics. We still want to follow the Spaniard education or the Spaniard historical point of view of who we are. And it's time we break away from that. Our Judite brothers and sisters have been able to do that. They're breaking away from this garbage Baptist church and Catholic church and all these churches that once put them in the wrong place. You know what I'm saying? They're breaking away from this how could I say this perspective. And so what about us Hispanics? What about Puerto Ricanos and Cubanos and Salvadoreños, Guatemaltecos, Hondureños, mi gente de Perú, mi gente de Bolivia, mi gente venezolana, mi gente de Sudamérica, Latinoamérica, todo Latinoamérica, los Chicanos? What about us? Where are we at? How come we haven't been able to break away from this nonsense? I still see a whole lot of brothers out there, man, raza, with tattoos, still tattooing themselves with the Catholic garbage, with the Christian garbage. And yes, I'm calling it garbage because that's exactly what it is. It's garbage. It doesn't belong to us. Right. You know what I mean? It's not our culture. It's a culture we've been, educated in. You know what I'm saying? So what about us? When are we gonna learn to break away from this from this garbage, from this poison of you know what I mean? And Salakia, I'm trying to get this out real quick.
I got the video right here, everyone.
Okay, so real quick, let's go to this video. We're gonna go to this video before we can start this this whole conversation fresh off the top, so we can see what we're talking about. And let us get into it. And I don't know if y'all have seen this video of Tigger yet, but so far out here in the West Coast, it's become a fire of Latinos being like, "Come on, man, how you gonna represent us? How you gonna talk to us this way?" You know what I mean? So let's see. Go ahead and add it to the screen. Okay, let's go ahead and watch this real quick.
Oye, yeah, you. All I wanted was to dance. Will you dance with me? Ay caramba, yeah, big old Glock on the hip, make the op go. Ay caramba, yeah, my bitch hot, she remind me of Tabasco. Ay caramba, yeah, big ass chain on my neck, it's a disco. Bling. Ay caramba, take a look at me, I'm the #1 stunner. Take a look, hey, ay caramba, yeah, hop in the Porsche and I press on the turbo. Ay caramba, yeah, I like that ass when she move to Calypso. Ay caramba, yeah, she gon' ride that bull like a rodeo. Right. Ay caramba, I don't need a name, take a pic with the number. Bang like a drummer, bounce like a Hummer. We been outside running shit for 10 summers. Running hard to be humble, bag never fumble. Easy with the money, nigga, you a newcomer. I can make it rain, niggas want thunder. You can have the fame, cause nigga, I don't want it. Or you wanna rumble? Man, these niggas got me fucked up. Fuck it. Ay caramba, yeah, big old Glock on the hip, make the op go. Ay caramba, yeah, my bitch hot, she remind me of Tabasco. Ay caramba, yeah, big ass chain on my neck, it's a disco. Bling. Ay caramba, take a look at me, I'm the #1 stunner. Take a look. Take a look at my girlfriend. 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 She looks better than your friend. Looks better than your friend. You wanna be my girlfriend? You wanna be my no way, Jose? Okay, my babe, looking like Rosalie. Yeah, you know I'm.
All right. I seen enough of that garbage. You know what I'm saying? So the issue with that video, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh man, that's the video, that's the cut." Man, I don't think so. Garbage. Well, the way we see it, they're clowning Hispanic brothers and sisters.
Right.
Like they're trying to portray us as fat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As Dorito eating. These brothers are the ones that are complaining about stereotyping. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones complaining about the stereotyping. And you know what? This is stereotyping. Like I don't see Hispanic brothers, in the rap game, stereotyping black brothers. On the contrary, Hispanic brothers in the rap game, I'm sure that they have respect for black brothers because they know that the rap music. We know who's on top of the rap music. Like if you go back in history, if you go back to the historical point of rap music was a Puerto Rican and black brother thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The Puerto Ricanos, the Puerto Ricans, and the black brothers in New York, they're the ones who popped off what was known as rap music. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
This is a fact. This is like, if you go back, you'll find out the Puerto Ricans were there since day one. And then you got a lot of Hispanics in the West Coast that they also jumped on day one with Delinquent Habits. Remember Delinquent Habits? Delinquent Habits way back in the early 80s, Delinquent Habits. Mellow Man Ace, way back in the day, Mellow Man Ace.
So like, sir, if I could, Rasa has so much respect for, for black folk that a lot of Chicano rappers never say nigga in their rap songs.
Damn, you're right.
Never use the word nigga, and they frown upon it.
Right.
For us when other rappers use it. You know what I mean? They call it out.
Right.
So it just shows the difference. But you know what I mean? Like my thing would be this. I'm curious as to what Tyga has to say about his whole reasoning behind this music video. Like, what went through his mind when he was making his rap lyrics, if he wrote his rap lyrics. Or if he decided he came up with that idea for the music video. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
because who knows? They say that a lot of these artists, right? I don't know, you remember the Command General Yohana when he did the video on Cardi B, right? Where Cardi B was getting heat from the East Indian community because she did that ad where she was portraying one of the East Indian goddesses. Well, he brought out, right, that it was her manager and her team that told her to do that. Right. I'm wondering if that's what's going on with Tyga. Not that I'm excusing, and for the record, I'm not excusing Tyga at all, right? He should have known better. But the whole thing is, like, there's always an agenda with this music. There's always an agenda with everything put out. You know what I mean? And it's not a coincidence that this video comes out just right after that whole incident went down with that lady and that street vendor. You know what I mean?
You're right about that. And the way I see it is what's happening here is that they're gonna say, well, that's not racist, man. Black and Hispanics, it's okay because one of the things they're gonna say is, well, Mexicans say nigga. Because that's what they'll tell you. Well, Mexicans always say nigga. Mexicans always say nigga. So if you guys can say nigga, yeah.
Right.
If you guys can say nigga, then what's wrong with us doing this? To them, there's nothing wrong with that. To them, it's like, if you guys can say nigga, then we can portray, this right here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, to them, it's the excuse of what can you do. But let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you right now. Mexicans do not ever put in any video some Mexican portraying blackface. Now you know what blackface is, right?
Right.
We don't use blackface. We don't ever even joke about blackface because we know that blackface is a racist agenda against our black brothers and sisters.
Right.
And we don't joke about that. That's not something that some rapper would put in some Mexican rapper would put in his video as that being okay to have. You know what I'm saying? Because to us that's offensive. More because us Hispanics go through the same thing that the black brothers and sisters go through. So here is blackface. These are white boys who got black faces.
Right.
So this is similar to what we're seeing Tigger do.
Right.
Tigger's doing the same thing here.
Right.
This blackface is what Tigger's doing. Tigger's doing a goddamn Mexican face, if that's what you want to call
brown
it.
Face.
A brown face. The salakia.
Nice.
A brown face. The water for that. A brown face.
Right.
And how far does this blackface go? Well, it goes pretty far back.
I don't want if I can add to that, right? He not only did he do a brown face, right? But if you notice, right, he made him fat.
Right.
And then he made that character, right, like stick his tongue out at the women.
Right.
Now remember what Donald Trump said about Mexicans.
Right.
Donald Trump called Mexicans rapists and criminals. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like he's portraying that stereotype that Mexican men are just predators.
Right.
Sexual predators trying to prey on women. Meanwhile, him being, who he is, he's the opposite. You know what I mean?
Right, Con. And let me tell you something. Manalik Gutierrez had posted that us Hispanics, we use the word mi negro. You know, mi negro. That's a term of endearment, like the brother says, because it's true. Like we call brothers negro, you know, but not because we're calling them a racial word, but because their skin is darker. Like I got a brother that's darker than me. I got a sister that's darker than me, you know. And I remember we used to call her negra, you know, because of the color of her skin, or moreno. That's a word we use a lot, moreno. You know, moreno is a common word. We even call our women morenita. We use the word morenita. There's songs, corridos with the word morenita, which means black, which means Negro. And we use the word morenita as a term of endearment at what we call our women. So when you hear a Mexican say, oh, negro, or this, man, we're not really being racial. That's actually a true word that we use to address our darker skinned brothers and sisters in our own countries. La morena, el negro. They used to call Celia Cruz la morena, la negra. Celia Cruz was a famous singing cumbia singer, you know, in from Puerto Rico or Cuba. I believe she was Cuban, but Celia Cruz was she was like the queen of salsa, the queen of cumbias. You know, she was someone, and they'd address her as la morena, la negra. You know, la negra Tomasa. Remember that song, La Negra Tomasa? There's plenty of songs that Hispanics use the word negro as a term of endearment. So we don't see the word as negro like something racial. On the contrary, La Guadalupe is morena. Yeah, exactly. The Virgin Mary. There's a lot of people who know that, and they call her La Morena. That's Mary. They call her La Morena. La Guadalupe is morena. They even use that on her, right? So you know what? We don't take that as a racial thing. You know, it's not until you come here and start growing up in the American culture, right, that you begin to distinguish that and begin to use that in another manner. And the reason why is because of the war that's going on between us. And we pick these things up and we begin to use, man, Mexicans didn't know the word nigga. Right. We didn't use that word. You know what I mean? That wasn't in our vocabulary. Now it is. Why? Because we hang around with all the black brothers in school. And they use that word. And then we begin to use that word. And let me tell you something. I remember, I'm going to tell you something. When I was going to school, and I'm an older cat, but when I was going to school, that word nigga was not used by Mexicans. But black brothers used to call us my nigga. Right. They used that word to call us my nigga. So they used to use that word to address us as like my brother, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? You hear what movie is that? Denzel Washington?
Which one?
Training Day? Training Day. He uses that word sparingly. My nigga. Right. My nigga. My nigga.
Oh, the white boy that I don't want to lock you.
Yeah, right? My nigga. And let me tell you something. The number one movie star for Hispanic brothers is Denzel Washington. Oh, God. Like he's like Denzel. Nice. Yeah, Denzel Washington. Like if you ask a Mexican, oh, Denzel Washington, oh hell yeah. Even if the Mexican don't speak English, he'll still tell you, oh yeah, Denzel, pinche Denzel chingón. You know what I'm saying? Because they love Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington is probably the Mexicans' favorite black movie star. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't see it that way. We don't see a racial thing. It becomes racial when you start, growing up into this garbage that America, and we created that garbage. I'll be honest, man, we created that garbage. You know what I'm saying? We became what white America is, racist. We became what white America is, bigots. We became what white America is, a racial division in our own brothers. We became just like them. This country has pushed us into a mindset of being just the way they are, hateful towards each other. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, our kids are growing up with this racial barrier of, oh man, that nigga, this, that. But before that wasn't there. And we used to have issues. Why? Because these issues have been coming around because we've been taught to divide each other. We've been taught to separate. We've been taught, even though we go through the same thing, for some reason, we've been educated in the racial separation, separating ourselves. But when we're in prison, man, we see each other as that. We see white boys a little further than we do blacks. We in the military, we know who's who. On the job, we know who's who. Even on the streets, we know who's who. Man, I grew up amongst black and Hispanics. Tell you that much. I grew up amongst black and Hispanics, and there were some black brothers and sisters who were hateful against Mexicans. There were some Mexican brothers and sisters that were hateful against blacks. But let me tell you, there was a lot of us who mixed in with both crowds.
So, if I could, right? Isn't that biblical though? The hatred between black and brown. Wouldn't that be biblical? I don't want. What happened when the kingdom split, right? When they split between the northern and the southern kingdom, tribe of Judah, and then tribe of Ephraim and Issachar and all of them. Like there was already a great animosity.
Gone. And let me tell you, Issachar grew up on what is that? Ephraim with Ephraim. You know what I'm saying? Like Issachar and Ephraim were like, you know, side to side. Issachar used to fight alongside of Ephraim and Judah. You know, we were brothers till the end. Like we were back to back with each other. You know what I'm saying? So, but now we're seeing this divide, and we're seeing these garbage rappers causing division between us. Man, here in the UPK, we're struggling to bring us together, and we're seeing these rappers come and try to separate us, come and bring this garbage, this rap garbage. Let me say, it's very few Hispanic rappers. I don't even know who to go to tell you that they start a racial war. I don't know who to go to because I don't see it. I don't see that racial war. I see a lot of Salvadorian and black brothers who love the whole Mexican brothers and Salvadorian brothers who just love the whole rap game, who are all into the rap game. Who was that? Tego Calderon. Hey, there you go, Tego Calderon. Tego Calderon is Puerto Rican, and he'll tell you, man, you know, I'm a reggaetonero, but I love the rap, you know, and they know where the rap comes from. They know where it came from. They know where its seed comes from. And so we show respect. And with this that's going on, this is just disrespectful to the Hispanic community, to the Latino community, to the Mexican community. And like I always say, you know, we're using the Latino and Hispanic term, but for the raza, straight up, for the raza, that's disrespectful. That's something that we don't need to be, you know, seeing or being promoted. And, you know, what we need to do is separate ourselves from people like this, and, you know, not give them no attention, and most of all, you know, not support these damn rappers. Tigger is a nobody. I think he had one hit back in the 90s.
So and then, sir, if I could, Tiger also, like just not too long ago, him and another rapper by the name of YG, right? They were caught like cross-dressing. There's a music video that came out where they were dressed up like women. But just comes to show you like the weird tip that they're on. You know what I mean? Like they're doing anything for basically that's why I say like these cats are being told what to rap about, so what's hot. You know what I mean? And maybe this is probably why this could be a reason why he did this video to be controversial. You know what I mean? To get that because he's really a nobody. You know what I mean? Like his music sucks. His music's whack. You know what I mean?
God, I'm gonna go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, I don't want like that's you know what I mean? So that could be it. He wanted this infamy, you know what I mean? It sells. But what these rappers, right? And there's a reason why in the ISPK and the Commanding General Hana, right, why we say that entertainers are not leaders. Because entertainers do what they're told. And they will sell out their own people for pay. You know what I mean? Tiger raps about taking another man's woman, killing another black man. You know what I mean? All these rappers do that. So it's not surprising that they would make a music video and a song, you know, disrespecting the raza. You know what I mean? Because this is what the people above them tell them to rap about, because they think it's, you know, it's the current, you know, for lack of a better term, right, the flavor of the week. This is gonna get them recognition, radio play, controversy. You know what I mean? They want to get talked about. So he knew, because you know what I mean. He that video, right? I'm pretty sure that's why I asked. Like, I'm like, what he's got to say as to why he came out with this music video. Because if he says he was doing this right to show and love and embrace the Mexican community, no one's gonna believe him. We're the raza is not gonna believe. The raza sees right through it. You know what I mean? Because you don't fake an accent, you don't stereotype a cholo, and portray him that way and think that say that's embracing the raza. Like you did that as as a mockery. You did that as to put down the raza when the raza has shown nothing but love to you. A lot of your fan base is raza. You know what I mean?
And just to be clear, man, what they were dressed as were drag queens.
Good night.
That's the picture we're showing right now. If you're on their StreamYard, you can see the pictures I'm showing. Stephanie Montana, Shalom, y'all, Kwamo, all Shalom on one, y'all, but this is what it really is. They're dressed as drag queens, both Tigga and YG. That's their whole thing right there, the drag queen look. Instead of uplifting our people, not only are they stomping all over the Hispanic brothers and sisters, man, with the with the raza, they're also giving our brothers, our Judite brothers, a bad name by representing the drag queen culture in the black community.
Right.
Because that's what they're doing. They're over here with the drag queen look. Come on, man. Aren't we having enough problems and issues, battling the schools for bringing in this homosexual agendas, this LGBT, that you needed to put it on a music video just to get yourself up? That's I think the Bible talks about how some of us are just care about ourselves and how we're just looking after us, trying to do us, and we don't care what happens to anybody else. We're dragging a whole generation of kids with us. You know what I'm saying? We're dragging a whole nation of kids with us when they are. They're dragging a whole goddamn nation of kids with them with this garbage that they're representing. The LGBT, drag queen community. You know what I'm saying? Instead of uplifting a male culture, embracing the man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Embracing that, they choose to bring up this drag queen. You know what I'm saying? That's good. That just goes to show you what kind of people they are. And not only they did that to the black brother, now they come into the Hispanic community and they do this to us by representing us as dirty Mexicans, because that's what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Go ahead.
That's a like it, sir. So we got a cat right here that asked real quick, so if I could, I don't know. He said, "What do you think of the narco culture's influence on the raza?" From Mr. Jimenez. So you know what I mean? What do I think about that? Right.
Oh, okay.
So what do I think about that? I'm gonna tell you this, like, that's no different, that when these rappers, talk about, like I said, when they talk about gang banging, when they talk about drug dealing, when they talk about, taking another man's woman, like they put that in the music, you know what I mean? Because these companies tell them to rap about that. They tell them that this is gonna get them that radio play. Go ahead.
So let me tell you something. Let me jump in real quick with Jimenez's comment. What do you think about the narco culture's influence on the raza? So let me be honest. The narco culture has been around a long time.
Right.
It's nothing new. If you grew up in the 60s and the 70s, the narco culture has always been around. Los corridos, because that's where you're going at. You're going with the corridos. Because how do we know about the narco culture? Because of corridos, right?
Okay.
That's where it comes from. So, but what started the narco culture? Where does this come from? Because Mexico didn't have a narco culture. Mexico didn't have that. I'm going to tell you something. Like, I don't know how old you are, Mr. Jimenez, but in Mexico, in the 80s and the 90s, a bullet would give you life in jail in Mexico.
Dang,
that's what it was like in Mexico. A bullet, if you were pulled over by a federal or a local policía, and you had a bullet on you, that would give you life in prison. So the idea to carry a gun in Mexico was completely out of the question. Now going to the narco traffic, man, drugs were illegal in Mexico. Like, you could not have drugs in Mexico. That was something that you didn't have. One thing that always ran in Mexico, the biggest thing in Mexico, and let me see how well known you are in this. In Mexico, the one thing that was most popular in Mexico era la marijuana. That was the popular thing in Mexico. In the 70s and the 80s, marijuana was the thing. Marijuana was brought to America. They used to bring it in bricks, and they used to lace them with ammonia in order to be able to cross the border. And they used to bring tons of it. Why they used to bring tons? Because marijuana was the thing. Not cocaine, marijuana. Like, it was the biggest problem in Mexico was the marijuana. You know what I'm saying? And so the corridos come from valiant men of Mexico. All the older corridos son corridos de caballos, corridos de revolucionarios, corridos de Pancho Villa, corridos de Emiliano Zapata, corridos de mujeres que mataban a los hombres. The corridos was a song which represented the story of a certain person or a certain time or a certain thing. So how do we get into the narco corridos? How do we get into the narco trafficking? How do we get into cocaine in Mexico? What happened to us? I'll tell you what happened to us. And it didn't happen too long ago. It happened in the 90s. It was called Operation, what was that? Operation Fast and Furious.
Okay.
Operation Fast and Furious was an attempt for America to go drop off tons of guns and ammunition on the streets of Mexico. And that's exactly what they did. What you have to do is research this conspiracy, if you want to call it, this conspiracy, and see where this came from. So where did the drugs come from? How did cocaine get into Mexico? Well, you should know that in America, right, the cartel started here. It started with Clinton, Hillary Clinton, George, what's his name?
George Bush.
No, George
Ronald
Bush
Reagan.
and Clinton, right? And Clinton in Arkansas. It was in Arkansas. If you research what was going on in Arkansas, you'll realize that the Clinton family had an airstrip that was going straight to Colombia and bringing back tons and tons of cocaine and dropping them off right there in Arkansas. And from Arkansas, it was spreading across America. And instead of flying all the way over when they got caught up, what's the next thing they do? Well, they needed to find a way to bring the cocaine through. And where they go to? They went straight to Mexico. Camarena, right? You know Camarena. I know you watched that movie, right? Of El Chapo Guzman. And that movie, right? And they show Camarena. And Camarena was an FBI agent or CIA agent who realized that the whole traffic thing of cocaine that was happening was coming from the FBI.
Good
And
night.
the FBI killed Camarena, Kiki Camarena, because he found out who was really behind the trafficking of cocaine into America. And he found out that it was the CIA or the FBI that was behind the whole damn thing. So was Mexico involved in it? No, America was involved in it. All what happened to us is that money, ¿qué dice? Con dinero baila el chango. Right? Right? With money, the dog dances with money. And that's what happened to us. We got involved in the American money. And let me tell you, I'm going to prove it to you. Today, that whole thing that you're talking about, what was his brother's name? It's the, what would you say his name was?
Mr. Jimenez.
Mr. Jimenez. You should know that right now, at this very moment, the cartels in Mexico are not killing each other or destroying their communities or selling these drugs for el peso mexicano. They're not. The peso mexicano is worthless. What they're fighting for, what they're killing for, what they're working for is the American dollar. That's what they're working for. That's the poison that destroyed Latin America, destroyed Mexico, the American dollar. Because ain't none of these cartels fighting for el peso. They're not. They don't give a damn about el peso mexicano. If they really cared about money, they would be, well, el peso mexicano, but they're not even fighting for el peso mexicano. Our people die for the American dollar. Our country is destroyed for the American dollar. Our nation, Latin America, is a waste because of the American dollar. Follow the money. Isn't that what they say?
Right.
Follow the money. The money leads to where it's coming from. And that's the problem with our country today, that we're so wrapped up in the American dream that the dollar is part of that American dream. And the American dream is a nightmare for Latin America.
Right.
And we're living that nightmare. The minute that dream came into our nation was destroyed. The minute that American dream came into El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Panama, Dominica Republicana, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and all these places, our nations were destroyed. We became nothing because we chased after this American dollar that in reality is a poison to our people. You know what I mean? That's what it really is. So what is this? What was this question?
So what do you think of the narco culture's influence on the raza?
My personal opinion is that that's the worst thing that could happen to us. To influence our children to grow up to want to become narcos. And you know what the thing is though? That we love the culture. Hey, we're valiant men. You know, most of those people, they'll be prefiero morir. You know, they live to the day. Así mueren como valientes. They die like that. And they live like that. And it's not for everybody, pero el que la vive, la paga. You know what I'm saying? And it's a sad thing to see that our whole nation is destroyed over these cartels. It's a sad thing to see that all of Mexico has been caught up in this greed of the American dollar that is destroying our people. And when are we going to change it? When is it going to happen? I'll tell you something, Mr. Jimenez. Think about this. The day the Mexican people wake up and those cartels decide the American dollar is not worth the life of our people, Mexico will become the greatest nation in this earth. Because one, we die valientes. Two, a nosotros nos vale madre la vida. We'll take whatever it takes. And we could make Mexico the greatest nation on this world just because Mexicans are the hardest working people that you know. Mexicans do everything. Our nation, our land, Mexico and all of it is the most fertile country on this side of the whole fucking continent. You can grow anything in Mexico. We could be the richest nation on this side of the world compared to everybody. And we could be the best. The problem is that we live this American dream. And then we come to America thinking that here is the American dream and things become worse for us because we're discriminated on here. They hate us here. We got no love from them. And it's historical. If you look at, we went to war. In World War II, we got more Medal of Honors alongside of our black brothers and sisters than any other nation. And yet we came back to fight for equal rights during the Zoot Suit riots. The same Americans that we fought for were beating us, stripping us naked on what's that place in LA, on Broadway Boulevard, and you know, beating us down and beating our women and sending us to the east side. You know what I'm saying? And then we went and fought in Vietnam, and we had to come back. We were fighting for whose freedom? Not our freedom, because we came back to LA, came back to America to fight for civil rights. We were walking down the streets with picketing and signs talking about, you know, stop police brutality and, you know, equal rights for Mexicans. And how about equal rights for us in education and in the schools? And how about allowing us to speak Spanish to our own children in our own schools, in our own places, in our own homes? So what about all that? We're over here fighting for freedom, not realizing that we never had that freedom in America. America's never gave Mexicans freedom. And today is no different. The difference today is that we got our children using the term Mexican American and putting two words together that have never been able to live side by side. A Mexican and an American. We're enemies to each other. We've always been. And all that does to us today is that when your son says he's Mexican American, what he's doing is learning to hate Mexicans. Because now your son is talking about, well, you shouldn't be here. You're a border brother. You need to go back to Mexico. You need to come into this country legally like I did. Well, your parents didn't come in legally. Your parents also had to battle to get their citizenship in this country. You know what I'm saying? So we're really using a term, Mexican American, Black American, Native American Indian. These are all the same people that have struggled in this country that says that you have rights, but you've never had rights. Never. You've always been the same. You've always been struggling just to be able to be accepted in this goddamn place. The American dream is actually the nightmare for us. Salaga, go ahead. Go ahead, Gunnar.
Juan, that's heavy that you say that, right? Because that's what I was gonna also say to Mr. Jimenez. That narco, that narco culture, well, here's the heavy thing about it. That's not our culture. That's not, the raza's culture. That's got nothing to do with being, Mexicans. Got nothing to do with being, for lack of a better term, being indigenous.
Right.
The Mexicas, the Chichimecas, they weren't narcos back then. That comes from the oppressor.
Yeah.
That whole lifestyle of being a drug lord. They were, that comes all the way from the Italians, the Irish, the Jewish. They were the ones that were torturing people and doing drive-bys and doing, having mobs of people running, being drug lords and everything. And their whole thing was to give all the drugs, sell all the drugs to black and brown. That's who they targeted. And now it's been brought out. All the evidence is out there that all these these oppressors had always had a conspiracy to pump the barrios full of drugs and to cause the chaos that's going on today. All that comes from America. Narco culture is American culture.
That's
Narco
right.
culture is white culture. That's what it is.
Damn right. Yeah, absolutely. Malakma, you're right. This culture of narco is not our culture. You know what our culture is? I'm gonna tell you what our culture is. If you stay there, I'm gonna give you an example of what our culture really is. Our culture, gente trabajadora,
right?
Gente de honor, gente de jaladora. That's our culture. That's why. Let me tell you, there's a division in culture. When our people used to come from Mexico to America, they came here as farm workers. They came here to work their backs. Man, I know my pops was an immigrant here. Well, man, I don't even want to use that word immigrant. I'm going to use the right word. My dad was a wetback here. My dad came back as an illegal here. He came here and he ended up working at Farmer John here in Cali at the Farmer John as a butcher. He left that job and went to work as a dishwasher. He left that job and went to work as a waiter. You know what I'm saying? These are Mexican jobs. He left that job and ended up working in an auto shop. These are Mexican jobs. This is what we do. Roofers, cement workers. You know what I'm saying? Builders. These are our jobs. This is what we do. This is what, when you bring a Mexican from Mexico and you bring him to America, the first thing he's going to tell you is, pues necesito jale. I need work. Well, where are you going to work? Man, I don't care. I just need a job. Then you get a Mexican, man, you give him a job anywhere. He'll be like, man, I don't give a damn. I'm going to stay right here. And you know what happened to that Mexican? He'll be in there so long that he'll begin to learn that job and he'll just escalate and know everything about that job. He'll know how to do every aspect of that work. But you know what? He'll never be credited for that work, or he'll never get a diploma for that work. Actually, a lot of Mexicans do a lot better jobs in drywall, in cement, in landscaping, in building than the white boy or the other guy who went to school and got a goddamn degree and became an engineer, and they don't know how to do a goddamn thing. And you get one of these Mexicans, man, that dude will put a house together in no time. And I'll prove it to you. Not too long ago at my job, we had this company that went down, and they were doing some cement work on the pavement outside in the parking lot. And they destroyed a whole area of the parking lot to run a piping. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. It took them 3 goddamn weeks to do that, to lay that. And when they finished, the pavement, instead of being all the same color, where you could see the patch where they had left the different in color. Now, there's a corporate place that I'm at. And not only did they that, but they left a goddamn mess. And for 3 weeks, they had a whole section of the parking lot blocked off because they needed all that time. And lunchtime would come, they'd be on their break for a whole goddamn hour. And I would tell my supervisor, I'd be like, bro, check out your people, man. Those motherfuckers still out there. They've been out there for 2 weeks. They've been out there for a week. Man, they out there all goddamn day. They haven't been able to finish. You know what I'm saying? I always put it on because I got a white supervisor. So I always throw it on his ass. I'd be like, look at your people, man. Look at your people. And then, so this happened. Then about 2 weeks later, something happened in the front of the store where they had to replace some cement. I think it got cracked and there was a hole and they had to replace the whole front of the entrance. And so this time they hired some Mexicans, and I thought they were pochos. So I went and I was like speaking to one of the guys, and he was driving that little, the little, what are they like? The little shovel tractors that do the shovel, to lift the dirt. And I went and I told the guy, hey man, how long you guys been here? And then he answered me in Spanish. I was like, oh, okay. So then I talked to him in Spanish. Jefe, ¿cuánto tienen aquí? So, oh no, we've been here since yesterday. I go, oh really? He goes, yeah. I go, well, how long is it gonna take you to do this? He said, oh no, we'll be finished by today. I said, what? Man. I said, you gotta be kidding me, bro. He goes, yeah, no, Simón, we'll be, en un ratito nos la aventamos. And I was like, well, how long were you supposed to take? He said, nos dieron 3 días. They took 1 day to finish that job. So you know what? I went down to my supervisor and I had to tell him, hey, bro, come over here. I want you to see this. I go, these Mexican brothers are about to knock this whole front quad down. And they're going to lay cement on this. And I told him, you know what? They said they're going to do it in 1 day. And he was like, man, you're full of shit. He ain't going to do that in 1 day. By the end of the day, they had the whole thing done. They had it blocked off. They cleaned everything up. They were taking buckets of water and dumping it in our little where the flower pot was at, just dumping it. They cleaned the whole goddamn thing out, and they were done in a single day. And I said, man, I was like, you know what? That makes me proud to be Mexican, bro, when I see that shit, because that just goes to show you that Hispanic brothers, man, we on the ball. Like if we say we're gonna do something, they'll go and bam, they'll put it together, they'll do it, and they're out of there. And he said because they had other jobs to do. And since they got other jobs to do, they're gonna do that shit like that, and they're gonna go handle the next job. Because their thing is, I gotta make my money, right? And I'm gonna get paid the same 3 days as I'm gonna get paid 1 day. So in their eyes, is I gotta get this work done, right? You know what I'm saying? And so you got these other fools that are out there forever, and you know what? They just ain't doing the job. You know what I mean? And so to get back to the point. When you see Tigger, right, disrespecting Mexicans like that, you got to understand that the reason we feel a certain way about what he's doing is because us Mexicans who are hardworking raza and who hold it down and in honor, man, we offended by that shit. Right. We offended by this fool going out and clowning Hispanic brothers and sisters. Right. You know, clowning our people, clowning our culture. This can't go. This can't run. This can't be okay. We cannot sit there and allow this to go on and not say nothing.
Like if I could, sir, like it's like Raza has every right to be offended by that. You know what I mean? And then there's another side to that people don't, like how do I say it? Like it's really, it's really messed up. Like there's Raza that downplays, our anger towards something like this. You know what I mean? Saying too sensitive, where they're not offended by it. You know what I mean? Like that's messed up because there not too long ago, right? And of course, this is not it was a different community, but it just shows you the attitude when the tables are turned, right? Right. Like there was that singer, right? A reggaeton singer, the Colombian singer, right? Oh, God. And he had 2 black women, right? Like crawling on the floors, right? Crawling on the floor with leashes on them, right? Like dogs, God. Like dogs. And the black community was in an uproar about that. They were offended. Nobody told them they were being too, sensitive. Right. Nobody told them that, that they're what is it? They're weak, they're pansies, they're trying to be politically correct. Right. The black community was in the uproar, was offended, let it be known, and they took the video down. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? If the black community can see that and get offended, why would the Mexican community not be able to see this with Tiger's video, get offended, and demand that be taken down? I think what happens is that the Hispanic community, we're not a very outspoken people. Like we hold back from outcries. We don't do that. Hispanic brothers and sisters, we don't do that. We let things slide. We're always like, well, I'm just it's not important. We always think things aren't important, and that's good. In a way,
I'm gonna say that's good, because you can tell that we're more busy in what are we gonna do to make money tomorrow.
Right.
What are we gonna do to get by tomorrow? That's our thing. Our thing is, how am I gonna make it work for tomorrow? This that's happening right now is nonsense. It's not even worth, paying attention to. But in a sense, I gotta say that, we can't all be like that. Some of us gotta speak out about the things that are going on in our communities. And if my brother ain't gonna say nothing, then let me speak for my brother. If no one's gonna speak for the Hispanic community, let me speak for the Hispanic community.
Right.
Let me be the one. There is a voice. There is a voice in the Hispanic community, and it's us right here, the Inconvenient Truth.
Damn right.
It's us right here, the ISUPK. We are gonna speak about the Hispanic community because we're not weak. I posted today. Strength is not it's not a body quality. Just your body don't show strength. The strength comes from within. And that's the way Hispanic brothers and sisters are. We're so powerful that when we rise up, you start to realize, wait a minute, okay, now it's different. Now you're starting to see Hispanic brothers speak. Now you're starting to see the Hispanic community stand up. Now you're starting to see la raza, la gente mexicana, la gente centroamericana, la gente hondureña, la gente de Sudamérica. Now you're starting to see us stand up. And when we begin to speak and when we begin to stand up, people begin to listen because of the power that we have in numbers. And how, when it comes down to it, we come together. There comes a time when we're like, wait a minute, we had enough of this shit. And then we're going to stand up, and then you're going to hear our voice. Because when one of us speak, we all speak. When one of us takes for change, we all take for change. That's how it's always been. You got to understand the history of Latinos, the history of Mexicanos, the raza of Centroamericanos, is when we begin to want to make change, we can make a change. The problem today is that a lot of us are so wrapped up in, we want to become American citizens. We want to be okay with America. Don't stir America up. That's the problem. Don't stir America up because they're going to come against Mexicanos. They threaten us. They threaten us with, I'll take your green card. I'll take your citizenship. That's what they threaten us with. They threaten with, you'll get deported. That's the threats that Hispanic people are worried about. I'll tell you why. Because when something goes down in our community, like when one of our vendors gets beat up, Hispanic people don't say anything. Hispanic people stay quiet. And when you tell them, well, why don't you say something? No, it's okay. The police is going to come and they're going to give me a ticket. They're going to arrest me. They're going to take my food cart. They're going to take my stuff. And I don't want that. I'd rather come to work tomorrow. That's the look. That's the perspective that Hispanic people have. La raza mexicana, we don't want to stir things up because we're afraid. We're afraid for a reason. We're afraid because we know deep inside that America is a hateful nation. Like a lot of people think, no, man, you know what? You guys are inventing this stuff. You guys are over here making this shit up, man. It's not true. A lot of Chicanos that, oh no, I'm okay. I don't have no problems in America. I'm good. I have my job. I have my house. But don't get pulled over by a cop. Don't get pulled over because right away they treat you like shit, and then you're all mad at the police officer. Oh, man, fucking pig. Sell out. You know what I'm saying? Because some Chicano pulled you over, fucking sellout, bro. That fucking, fucking bandido. You know what I'm saying? And then we go in on them. But we don't realize that Chicano cop that pulled you over acted like that because he too is just like you. Because he too wants to work for a system for that the system doesn't mesh with him so that he'll be okay. But when are we going to have enough of that? When are we going to realize that no matter what we do, this system is always against raza, always against Latinos, always against Chicanos? Let me tell you, man, that we're the hardest working people out there. If you live in the LA area, you go out to any, South Central, Linwood, Inglewood, Pacoima, East LA, Man, Montebello, let me see, Pasadena, let me see, San Bernardino, Rialto. You go to all these places, man, taco trucks everywhere. Taco stands everywhere. Eloteros all over the place. People pushing carts of nieve all the time. Like, we hardworking people. We that raza that comes and we got to hustle. That's the hustle right there. You want to see a hustler? You take a look at a Mexican. That's a hustler. Not because you go and sell a brick or a kilo of cocaine makes you a hustler. Not because you go and sell, marijuana makes you a hustler. That's not a hustler. Tell you what a hustler is. That old man that's about 60 years old pushing a goddamn fruit truck or a goddamn cart of fruit to the corner to sell and sit there all day long to sell his fruit till he runs out. That's a hustler. That lady that posts up at the entrance of the driveway at Lowe's and sells tamales all day till she runs out. That's a hustler. La vieja que vende aguas has a table with those jarrones de agua, all these different watermelon and lemon and mango and all these different waters with ice all day till she runs out. That's a hustler. The guy who sells the camarones, mariscos, that's a hustler. The guy who's selling tacos all day long out there, he sits there all day till the evening, till he runs out. That's a hustler, man. El lotero, that's a hustler. The guy who sells the roses, right? That's a hustler. Mexicans, man, they hustlers, man. That's a hustle right there. La tranza fina, the smooth hustle. La tranza fina, that's what it's called. That's a smooth hustle. They out there hustling all day long. And you know what they hustle for? Not to get a new car like your local drug dealer does. Right. Not to get a gold chain like your drug dealer does. Not to get a goddamn, Gucci bag for his girl like the drug dealer does. They hustle just to make enough money to feed their families. They hustle just enough to put in to pay the rent where maybe 6 or 7 people live in one apartment or one house. And they're hustling all day to make that money. That's what they are. They're hustlers, man. They the true hustlers. And let me tell you something. All across America, Tawada Sis, Taza Aya Gabar, New York City, Jackson Avenue are hustlers. Man, these are hustlers, man. These are the real hustlers. In hard times, these are the people that hustle. America is going into depression, and you can tell because you get off the freeway, and how many white folks ain't out there asking for a kickdown, for some money, with a sign, I ain't got a job, help me out. And on the other side of the freeway is a Mexican selling you something. Some potato chips. Some ¿qué son los papitas con chile? You know what I'm saying? These are the hustlers, man. These are Mexican hustlers. And you know what? We deserve respect. You know why we deserve respect? Because we choose to hustle than to sell drugs or rob or steal or do garbage like what's his name? What's that president that you said that we were murderers?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. We're not like Donald Trump said. Like, I'll go out and I'll film you hundreds of Mexicans out on the street. I'll go out and I'll film blocks and blocks and blocks of Mexicans posted up side by side selling tacos. They ain't got no issues with each other. They know there's enough for everybody. They're out there hustling, making their money. La tranza fina, the fine hustle, the smooth hustle. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Hispanic brothers and sisters do. We deserve respect. We deserve Tigger to make a goddamn video on his knees saying, I'm sorry, Hispanic brothers, for saying that. Oh, Salakia, Taza, Salakia. Salakia. Go ahead.
If I could, you know what? I'm gonna give the raza this, man, just for calling that out. But here's another thing that the raza, should be aware of. You know what I mean? A lot of times these rappers think that they can, clown the raza and get away with it because these other nations are making fun of the raza and getting away with it. You know what I mean? Raza's not calling out. You're not calling out the Chinos and the Vietnamese and the Japoneses out there in Japan when they, quote unquote, do the cosplay of the Cholo style. You know what I mean? Y'all not calling that out with the same outrage and anger. You know what I mean? And they're doing that cosplay. That they're doing the same thing Tigger did. That's like the same thing Tiger did. They're doing the same thing. They're doing brown face. It's no different. And they're mocking the raza when they dress up like that. And they say that they do it for the love of because they're embracing Mexican culture. But let me ask you this, raza. Like, you see, there's a picture I shared on my social media, Adawan, and it's a picture of what look like a Vietnamese family. And then, a bunch of Vietnamese people dressed up as cholos, all tattooed up, in a khaki suit with the socks pulled up, standing in front of a Mexican flag.
Oh, Khan, I saw that. Khan.
Like everyone thinks that they're showing love to the Mexican culture, when y'all don't even realize they're stereotyping. They're saying that that's to be a cholo, to be a gangster, to be a drug dealer and a criminal is to be a Mexican. That's what they're really saying. You know what I mean? Of course, everyone thinks they're showing love because at the same time, they got a tattoo shop. All Chicano style lettering, culture, all that, cultura. And they're capitalizing that. It's selling big, right? Now ask yourself this, and I said, all that money that they make, off that, you think they're giving it back to you? You think they're giving it back to the raza? Let me ask y'all this too. You think them Chinos, them Vietnamese, them Japanese grew up in the barrio with you? Or went through the struggles you did? Were repping that same barrio that you were? No, they weren't, right? But they mocking, they copying your style. They're making it a cosplay. All the struggles that the raza went through in that life, they're turning it into a fantasy. What is it? Live action role playing. That's what they do. Making a game out of the raza. That's what they're doing. But y'all don't see it because you know what I mean? You don't have that same animosity and hatred towards these other nations as you do black folk. You can see that this is wrong and you're quick to call it out because the raza hates black folk. You know what I mean? And black folk are quick to make, these rappers are quick to make these videos and not question it, because they hate Mexicans. Because America done pitted black and brown against one another. That's ultimately what the issue is behind that. You know what I mean?
No, you're absolutely right. Go ahead.
That's why, like I've also bring out, like, who told Tiger to make this video? Who told Tiger to put that content in there? Because Tiger, he's a rapper, you know what I mean? And he is responsible. He should have known better. But at the same time, somebody told him to rap about that. Somebody put that in his lyrics. Because best believe he doesn't write his own music. He doesn't direct his own, his own videos. He's not a video editor. He's just an entertainer. Someone tells him to rap about these things. You know what I mean? And all you entertainers, man, that's the problem with y'all. Y'all don't take a stand. Y'all love the money too much, man. Y'all love the money too much to not realize the harm that you do from what you put out. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, you won't take a stand when this, Amlekite, manager, CEO, whatever, tells you to rap about killing your brother in the streets. When he tells you to rap about taking that brother's woman, you don't take a stand because he signs your paycheck. You know what I mean? And you should take a stand against that, and you should take a stand when you see that they're making you make a mockery of the same brothers and sisters, of the so-called Latinos, of the so-called Hispanics that you grew up in the body with, that you grew up in the ghetto with, that run alongside that. You see how hard they are, how hard they work, and all the struggles they go through are similar to yours. You should call out your manager and your CEO or whatever he is telling you to rap about that nonsense. Have the courage to rap about the police brutality. Have the courage to rap about the kids being locked up in cages with the platforms y'all have. Have the courage to talk about the injustices that happen to both so-called blacks and Hispanics. So at some point, you got to tell yourself the money just isn't worth it. That's the problem with y'all. And that's how Tiger, is a slave. How he's, he's bought and owned because you think you know what I mean? Like, how you not take a stand when they told you to put on that outfit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To look, you know, like
drag queen,
like a drag queen. You know what I mean? Y'all supposed to be hardcore, masculine thugs, and this CEO tells you, this manager, whatever. I don't know what they call it. I don't want promoters, CEOs, whatever.
Yeah,
telling you to go, yeah, wear this. Like, you won't take a stand and say, no, I'm not wearing that, man. No, I'm not going to rap about this.
No, absolutely. And let me tell you something. One of the things we got to understand is that, you know, what they're doing is they're causing division between us, Black and Hispanics. You know, here in the truth, we're trying to bring ourselves together. You know what I mean? And we're learning, man, we just barely coming into this truth. We are kids in this truth. But even though we already understand the difference between being separated and coming together, and we choose to come together. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you something. In this truth, this is what's important about this truth. That right here is where we can start to really work with each other. Like, this is the first time that there's a platform where Black and Hispanics can really come together and work, you know what, hand in hand. It's something that we hadn't seen. And what Tigga is doing, you know, absolutely, Taza, Khan, you know, Tigga loves East South. He loves the white man. He loves the white man so much that he's willing to do whatever it takes to be able to rank on his side.
Salakia, sir, if I could add, also Tiger is half Vietnamese.
Oh,
so
he don't care.
That's why, like, he not only does, you know, of course he's a Judite because or I don't know, I think he's a tribe of Benjamin because his dad is Jamaican, but his mom's side is Vietnamese, and right. What usually happens, right, with these people that are, you know, like their mother is a heathen, right? They love the heathen nation. And the way the heathen nation feels about their father's side, they'll portray it, you know what I mean, towards their father's side. So it shouldn't be a surprise that he, you know, shows that hatred towards the raza because he's a heathen. Like, his mother's side is a heathen. And you know the Vietnamese hate Mexicans. That's why they're doing that cosplay out there in Vietnam. It's not a coincidence now. That's why, like I said, like I showed earlier, the Vietnamese that were dressing up like trolls. Now you think about it, you know what the scripture says, the spirit bears witness. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you something. We're in the ISUPK, man. We're in this truth. And in reality, we have to look out for each other.
Right.
You know, in the ISUPK, La Raza is just barely starting to come in. Like, we just barely coming in. Like, some of us that have been in here, like, we're staying on this. Like, I already understand, man, that right here, the ISUPK, man, I need to be here because this is where we belong. Because this is where we're going to come together. This is where Black and Hispanics are really going to start to see eye to eye. You know what I'm saying? Like, right here is where it's at. We got to start really showing love to each other and getting each other's back and showing that, man, what happens to my brother happens to me. Like, I see it that way. What happens to my raza happens to me. The reason why I come on this platform and I speak the way I speak is because when I see my brothers getting, you know, beat down on the streets, man, that hurts me. Man, let me tell you something. The only reason that it hasn't happened in front of me is because who knows what action I would take if I was to see something like that happen before my eyes. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm impatient with that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's better that I don't see that. But I do see what we have to do. And some of us are going to act and some of us are going to speak. Some of us are going to be the voice. Some of us are going to be the trumpets for our people.
Right.
So that when it's needed, we can speak up and wake up our people. Nuestra raza tiene que despertar. Our people got to wake up. It's a must. We can't allow it to go nowhere. Give me Jeremiah 50:33. We cannot allow it to go anywhere else but here. You know what I'm saying? That's why, let me tell you something. Here in this truth, raza is important. We got to come into this truth. We got to make our way in here. We got to come here. And you know, I know that one of the problems with a lot of raza is the concept of becoming, of how could I say, I don't want to say becoming, embracing your Hebrew culture. That's the problem with raza, that we cannot embrace the Hebrew culture.
Right.
And the hate is so heavy in the community that since the Judite brothers came with it, we don't want to be part of it.
Right.
Because we're like, well, that's a Judite thing. That Hebrew culture, that Israelite culture, that's a Negro thing right there.
Black Hebrew Israelites.
That's Black Hebrew Israelites. They right away, that's what it is. They say that's a Black Hebrew Israelite thing. And we're struggling to tell Rasa, you know what, Rasa? No, that's not true, man. This is our thing. We were Hebrew Israelites a long time ago. Like, we got to go into history to tell people, man, we Hebrew Israelites. What is that, preacher?
Okay. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
So we oppressed together, man. We in here together, and what we got to do is we have to come together. The Lord himself, the Most High, the same God that gave man, let me go into the Rasa shit, right? The same God that gave Quetzalcoatl, that man Quetzalcoatl, the same God that gave him that land is the God that raised us out of Israel. Out of Egypt. The same God that gave us the commandments. The same God that bring us out of captivity. Same one. The same one who bring us to this continent. The same one who gave us the law, statutes, and commandments. And who told us who our brothers and sisters are. We got to get past the whole racial issue and start realizing that we all the same people.
So, like, I don't know if I could, not to sidebar too much. I just want to add this, right? Because the brother said something heavy, right? You know, because he said that Tiger was wrong, right? The brother Baraki Allah, he said Tiger was wrong, but he said Rasa should, you know, what about, you know, like, should also be mad at Eminem, because I made a post earlier, right, where it showed Eminem dressed in the same, like in a Matador outfit. You know what I'm saying? He came out in a music video.
Khan, I seen that. Yeah, Khan.
You know what I mean? So you know, like, this is what I'll say. Like, the Rasa, right? Definitely, if you're offended by Tiger's music, right? Don't bump Tiger. Don't show no support to Tiger. You're valid to do that, but also you should not be bumping Eminem. Eminem shows the same hatred for the Rasa, the same disrespect. He done never, you know, and I'll say he done never put no Mexican Chicano rapper on or anything. The Judays at least put Chicano rappers on. You know, some of them have. This devil never has that, not once. You know what I mean? So, and he did the same thing. So, you know what I'm saying? So if y'all gonna boycott Tiger, you should boycott Eminem too, man. Definitely, yeah. Eminem's like the whole, you know, that's a whole, that you want to talk about a mockery, that's a prime example of a mockery. Because not only is he mocking, right, the brown community, he's mocking the black community by even trying to be a rapper.
So, but I'm gonna tell you something. Like, you know, we going into these rappers. It sounds like we being negative about the black rap community and the rappers. But let me tell you something. In the West Coast, you know, not all rappers are like that. Okay, right. I'm gonna tell you, not all rappers are like that. Here on the West Coast, we got Snoop Dogg. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Snoop Dogg and marijuano. You know, he's in the world. That brother's in the world. You know what I'm saying? But what Snoop Dogg does is he does concerts and he brings Ramon Ayala and Snoop Dogg together. He brings Mexican culture and black culture together in his concerts. He's big out here on pushing the Mexican community forward. He does a lot of concerts and he brings a lot of bands that are Mexican bands, straight Mexican bands, along with the rap culture out here. Ice Cube, what is that? All those 90 groups that Snoop Dogg, NWA. One of the top rappers out here for Hispanics is Too Short. Too Short, the man, we had Too Short in concert once, and he said, I'm quoting Too Short's words. He said, my biggest fans are all Mexicans. Like, Mexicans is my biggest fans. He said himself, I probably wouldn't have concerts if it wasn't for Mexicans, because I do concerts and all the Mexicans show up to my concerts. That's Too Short. You know what I'm saying?
Also Pac.
The Tupac, you know, Mexicans, that man, we've always shown a lot of support. And so you got Snoop Dogg out here doing the same thing, showing a lot of support for the Hispanic community. I'm pretty sure we haven't heard from Snoop Dogg yet about the whole thing with Tigger, but I'm pretty sure that Snoop Dogg is gonna have something negative to say to Tigger about what he's doing, because I know how big Snoop Dogg is out here with bringing the raza and the rap community together. Now, don't get me wrong, because I know that Snoop Dogg is the businessman,
right?
And I know that Snoop Dogg knows that his biggest following is the West Coast people and the raza that's out here. They do a concert in Long Beach, all the raza shows up. They do a concert anywhere, and all the raza shows up. And the thing about raza is we like to go out and have a good time. And we go out and we spend all our money at that bar. That bar is going to go broke that day, because we're going to go spend all that cash. And that's the way it is out here in the West Coast. Out in the West Coast, we go to concerts and we're going to go. Who was it this weekend was Too Short and what was his name? Man, they had a couple of rappers out here this weekend. And it was at this place called Steven's Steakhouse. Let me.
I know exactly what you're talking about, sir.
Steven's Steakhouse. Yeah, Steven's Steakhouse is smash in the middle, right off the 5 in East LA. Right. Let me bring it out. And man, give me 1 second. Let me.
If I could, sir, just to add, you know what I mean? Like, you got all these, of course, you know what I mean? Like, you got Kid Frost, Chicano rappers, that were out there putting it down, Brown Side, you know what I mean? Like, our raza, has been making music, you know what I mean? And there have been, Judai brothers, that would put them on, and Eazy-E showed a lot of love to Brown Side.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure did. I'm gonna try to get this real quick. Go ahead, keep going.
So you know what I mean? So that's the thing, like this whole animosity, between black and brown, this oppressor is bringing, is causing that. You know what I mean? All these other nations, you know what I mean? And of course, this is the curses, of Deuteronomy playing beforehand when you see this going on, because a lot of Judah, that whole animosity between black and brown has been ongoing. You know what I mean?
John. And so I got it. Look, so this weekend, right? They had this thing called the freestyle, and they had that Sister Trenier, they had Evelyn Champagne King, they had Rob Bass, they had JJ Fad, they had Rodney O and Joe Cooley, they had Color Me Bad, and this is all, and they had Eazy-E, right? These are all the people that they had at this concert this weekend. And let me tell you, the raza packed, that sold out event, and all raza out there. They had, here it is, look, Too Short, right? DJ Rosie Cortez, Nasty Nate, Rob Bass. Man, they had all these performing that day. And you know what? Raza went in there, packed that house. No issues, no problems. People had a great time. You know what I'm saying? A 3-day event, and they made that house jump this weekend. And let me tell you something. That's what it is. That you come out here to California, they got the party scene so heavy, and it's all black and Hispanics who come together to represent. Right. And you know what? These rappers know it. They know that that's where the money's at. They know that these people go, man, Mexicans gonna pack the house. We're gonna have a great time. We're gonna take our girl. We're gonna go in there. We're gonna drink. We're gonna have dinner. And it's a 3-day event, man. You know we're gonna represent. And you know what? Mexicans is where the money's at. And in East LA, people know that. Out here in Cali, they know that. They do a concert and they want to bring in Trish Toledo. You know what I mean? They want to bring in Malo. They want to bring in Mexican music and rap music together, because they know that that's where the money's at. So why you got fools like Tigger trying to separate us when we already doing a good thing out here?
Right.
When we already on board with coming together in unity, we ain't got no issues. So why you got to have some fool like Tigger, you know what I'm saying, and that other idiot YG to come out and spoil a good thing? All around, black and Hispanics are starting to come together a little more. We're starting to leave that division behind. Go ahead.
They do it because they do it for pay. They get paid to you know what I mean? That's why. And because they probably have a hate, you know what I mean? They probably have a deep rooted hatred of you know, of so-called black, you know, of the raza, right? But these cats also got a hatred of their own brothers, you know what I mean? Because they make music about killing the, you know what I mean? Killing their own brothers. And like I said earlier, taking their brothers' women, you know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. That they're, you know what I mean? Like these cats, these entertainers. That's why, like I said, as I said earlier, entertainers can never be leaders for black and brown people.
Absolutely,
they can never be. And our issue, and this is something that we got to start doing as a raza and as black folk the same too. We got to stop looking to these entertainers like they're some type of leader, like they are somebody.
Right.
And all they do is make music. That's it.
You're right. Hey, that brother Taza Ayag Bar says Banda MS and Snoop Dogg. Actually, that's one of Snoop Dogg's favorite bands, Banda MS. You know what I'm saying? Those are like that's the shit out here. You know what I'm saying? And we see it all the time. You know, not too long ago, down in East LA on the Whittier Boulevard, they got the cruise night on Sundays, and it was about, I think it was like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago that they had a cruise night. And they had a whole a Black Brothers lowrider club go down there. That's a first for Black Brothers to go down and cruise Whittier Boulevard, because they didn't allow that. That just wasn't happening. You know, there was always division, and the Black Brothers would go out to Crenshaw Boulevard. You go out to Crenshaw, and that's where all the Black Brothers cruise. You go out to Whittier Boulevard, and that's where all the Mexican brothers cruise. And so not too long ago, they had this thing where they had the Black Brothers go down and cruise Whittier Boulevard. And they perfect night. Perfect night. It was something that a lot, you know what? I should have gone down there and took pictures of Black and Hispanics coming together on a cruise night. Because that's real shit right there. That's real shit.
Like it, sir. All you gotta do is look no further than the ISUPK under commanding Honor, where Black and brown brothers come together, man. You know what I mean? And here, you want to talk about love and respect for the raza? ISUPK is where it exists. We, you know, like we done seen that firsthand, and we representing. We're gonna, you know, be the voice for the raza.
Right, God, absolutely. And so let me tell you that whole thing about the Black Brother Lowrider Club and the Hispanic Brother Lowrider Club in East LA, that was a major move for Los Angeles, when you got the car clubs coming together and cruising together, black and brown, side by side, especially on a street like Whittier Boulevard, which is smashed down in the middle of East LA. And like I said, all the Black raza, you know, Crenshaw Boulevard, that's their territory. A lot of raza, we don't go down to Crenshaw Boulevard. What was that? What movie did that come on? Colors?
Oh, Colors.
I believe Colors. They show Crenshaw Boulevard.
What is it? Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood, Crenshaw Boulevard. You know what I'm saying?
What is it? Menace to Society.
Menace to Society. Yeah, that's Crenshaw Boulevard. That's been known for the brothers cruising ground. Right. And East LA Woodard Boulevard, that's the Mexican cruising ground. You see it on Boulevard Nights.
Right.
You know, you see it on a lot of movies. You see the raza cruising Whittier Boulevard. You know, that's our street. And for them to be able to share a street together, and more for the Black Brothers to come down to East LA was the thing. You know what I'm saying? I remember when what was it? They had when who did they shoot that a lot of there was the disturbance where they were going in and burning in down the cities. What was that brother that got killed?
Got killed?
Yeah, he got killed by the
George
police.
Floyd?
George Floyd, was that?
Recent, you talking about recent or back then?
No, recently.
George Floyd.
Remember, in Chicago, they had this thing where the Puerto Ricans were turning in Black brothers to the police.
Yeah, it was George Floyd.
George Floyd. They were like, you know, coming into the Latin community and doing that shit.
Right.
You know, that's the same thing that happened in East LA. Remember, East LA, man, the lowrider clubs got together and they stopped point right there on Whittier Boulevard, and they were like, you ain't coming into our neighborhood and destroying East LA. Because we love our city. We love East LA because, you know, we were placed there. That's where they put us. East LA wasn't where we wanted to be. East LA was where gentrification ended up putting the Latin community in those areas. That was our area. Just like Harlem became the Black man's area, East LA became the Hispanic area.
Right.
Gentrification caused us to all move into these areas because that's where they were pushing us to. The outskirts of LA, the outskirts of the city, they didn't want us in there. And that's where gentrification, that's where we ended up during the time of gentrification. When Dodger Stadium, when they plowed down, what was that? The Chavez Ravine. All our raza had to move out. They either had to move out to Pacoima, or they had to move out to the east side of LA, and that's where we ended up, setting base. And I'm pretty sure the Black brothers had gone through the same thing. When during gentrification, they were pushed to places like Brooklyn and the Bronx and places like that because the white community didn't want them there. With Manatee Cherry, Cicero, Illinois, areas like that. They pushed us out. And they were like, well, that's your area. And then, people think, well, at least we had a place. Well, you didn't go through what those people went through, redlining.
Right.
Where the banks would not lend people in East LA money to fix their homes, or people in Brooklyn, or Watts, or South Central, or any place in Chicago where Hispanics and Black live. The banks were not allowed to lend anybody money to fix up your house. People wonder, well, why our Black communities look the way they look? Because we couldn't get money to fix our communities.
Right.
Why Hispanic houses run down? Because the banks wouldn't lend us money to fix our communities.
So, like, if I could, I don't want to also, because, you know what I mean, poverty, right? Like, they don't put the price so high and everything. Like, it's like in one household, like, you got 3 families living in there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's hard to, keep a house where you got 3 people living in there, and everyone's slavery. Everyone's working in slavery. Now, they don't even got the money to fix anything that goes wrong up in there, you know what I mean? So, of course, that's why it looks run down. And they want to say that it's because we're lazy. It's because, we just can't get our act together.
Right.
We come from El Rancho. That's what they, be saying, man.
Right.
When that's not at all it. It's that this shit is systemic. They set it up like this to where we can't even, because all they want us to do is eat, sleep, and go to the slavery.
And go to work.
Yeah. That's it.
Make them rich. Because that's what it's about. You go get paid the minimum, or they can get paid the maximum.
Right.
Because each one of us brings them in thousands of dollars.
Right.
While you're making a couple $100. That's the truth. That's the way it works. That's capitalism in America. You know what I mean? That's the way it works. And we struggle to survive while they they send their children to the best colleges. They send their children to the best universities. They got their vacation homes in our countries. Right. In Acapulco, in South America, in Central America. They got vacation homes there. They got areas out there that white people have well, that's my area right there. That's my house. And they keep it as just vacation homes. And we struggle to survive. Why? Because no matter where we're at, what does the Bible says? This is not our rest.
Right.
This is not our place. This is our struggle. This is our struggle to survive in this place. That's the truth. You know what I'm saying? And it's always been like that. So unless we wake up and come together and start helping each other out and start showing love to each other, man, and respect to each other. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it really is. We got to start showing respect for each other.
So, like, if I could, sir, I'm going to say this, like, to entertainers, right? Not to go back to the rap thing, and demonize it, right? Demonize these brothers trying to get their pay, but I'm going to just say this, man. Y'all brothers and the sisters out there in the industry, in the entertainment industry, right? At some point, you're gonna have to realize that your best option is to separate yourself from this oppressor, from their companies, from their record labels, and form your own, and come and be with your own, man. I know a lot of y'all out there, the stuff y'all talk about, this is what they're telling you to talk about, and you don't want to rap about it. There was a controversy out of one with the rapper Lil Wayne, I believe, where he they chastised him because he wanted to rap about the police brutality, and they told him he couldn't rap about that because it put police officers' lives in danger. That music would put their lives in danger. Can you imagine? They recognize that him bringing that up endangers their lives. Now think about why they're rapping about killing another black man, and then you know what I mean, because they want that music to put black and brown lives in danger.
Manatee Gutierrez makes a good point. He says our great-great-grandchildren's economical progress, I guess that's what he means, is already planned. You know what I mean? Well, let me tell you, Manalik, right? America has already planned our great grandchildren's, future, but that's what we're doing right now too.
Right.
We're planning our great great grandchildren's point of view towards this country and how they're going to grow up and how they're going to educate. We're re-educating our children with these type of shows that when they grow up, they won't fall for the nonsense that America, that we fell for. Man, I'll be honest, that we fell for. Like, we coming into this truth and we're like, damn, man, I should have been in this truth a long time ago.
Right.
You know, we coming into this truth and we're like, damn, man, how come I didn't pick this up a long time ago? How come I wasn't like this? How come Mr. Gutierrez, how come I wasn't on this show a long time ago?
Right.
Man, I'm new to this show. You know, and we're all thinking like that. We're all thinking, man, you know, I should have been here. Maybe we could have made a difference a long time ago.
Right.
Maybe we wouldn't be here. We're all of us here, Taza'a, Amanalik, me, all the brothers here on this show right now, whether you participate or not, we all have something in common. We're the beginning of change for the next generations.
Right.
That's who we are. We're the beginning of change for the next generations. We're the ones that are going to change the way our grandchildren think and see things. We're the ones that our great-grandchildren are going to see their abuelo and they'll be like, damn, my abuelo used to talk some shit. Man, he used to talk heavy. They're going to see these programs. We're going to be dead. And your great-great-grandchildren are going to see this program and they're going to be like, damn, like I come from that bloodline. That's what my grandpa used to talk about. Man, who were those people? Those were warriors. Those were soldiers. Those were men of renown. That's who they were. They were real men. They spoke up on it. There's a few of us, but we don't need a lot.
Right.
We don't need fake. We don't need people who are going to come in with lies. We don't need fake people. We need real people. We need soldiers. We need people who are going to come and speak on the real issues. These rappers, they nothing, man. They're going for glory that has no kind of foundation. They're going for glory that means nothing. Their glory comes and goes. We don't even realize that we're building a treasure here.
Right.
Our words are going to be worth gold. Our words are going to be the key to change to generations to come. Raza, Black and Native American Indian. We don't even know what we're doing here today. All these shows, I got 6 years on shows. 6 years of talking this. 6 years of speaking out to a few. But one day, man, these words are going to be giant. These words are going to be solid. One day, those that do care about our people are going to be like this right here. These brothers right here, all these brothers, were the ones who set the standard for what it is to be a revolutionist. To have a revolutionary mind, to have a revolutionary soul and a spirit of our ancestors. Because our ancestors were like this. Our ancestors were revolutionists. Our ancestors fought to get out of slavery. Our ancestors fought to fight oppression. Our ancestors died to give us what we have today. And we ain't got to go too far back. You can go back to the 60s, to East LA, to the uprise of the Chicano movement. And you'll see those brothers who died, who got arrested, who got beaten, who got maced, who got their dogs sicked on them. Why? Because they fought for the equality of their people. So what are we doing? We're here for the same thing. We're here to lift up our people. And this voice should be heard, not today, but throughout every generation. And that's what we get to do here. We get to record in time that's going to make change for all of our children and great-grandchildren. And that's what we're here for. That's what our job is. That's what we've assigned ourselves to do. We've decided to leave everything that we've heard, that we've known behind, and do this right here. Why not? Why not be that person? Man, if I'm taken, let me be taken as that guy used to speak for his people.
Right.
You know what we were called in the past? We were called Platonis. Platoni means one who speaks in the Nahuatl language.
Oh God.
And Way Platoni means a king or a man of power who speaks. That's what we are. We these Platonis of this time. We the ones who are going to speak now. We the ones who are going to raise up our children because we are our ancestors. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. Because everybody waits, man. When is that powerful person going to come around?
Right.
When is that person? When is another Zapata going to come?
Oh,
when is another Moses going to come? When is another, who, man? You know what I'm saying?
Joaquin Murrieta.
When is another Joaquin Murrieta going to come?
Oh,
when is this man going to appear? Well, I'll tell you when. Right now. We're all these people. We're these people. Everyone listening to the show, that's who we are. We're that spirit. It's only a spirit. That's all it is. It's a spirit, like my man Gutierrez says, a spirit of warfare. That's what it is.
Oh, God,
and we speak, and we take a risk speaking like this.
Right.
Because let me tell you, if you don't understand this, there's police that come knocking on people's doors for saying shit on the internet.
Right.
And we speaking these things. And we probably being tapped and being listened to and being watched.
We're called identity extremists.
Identity extremists. So let it be that we are identity extremists. But I'm an extremist for my people.
Damn right.
I'm an extremist for my raza, for mi gente, because we gotta wake up. We gotta do this work. Man, nothing is gonna stop me from doing this work. No matter where I'm at, no matter what format I'm on, no matter where I decide to go, I will always speak like this. One thing is for sure, man, I've always been this spirit. I learned all this before the UPK. The UPK just, man, refined me, made me understand that the Bible is my true book and that all my history is connected to biblical history.
Right.
Most High in Christ for the ISUPK. Because if I never would have came in here, I wouldn't have known that. But now I understand. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we're here. That's why we got to stay here. That's why we got to continue this journey. Because that's what it is.
I'm right.
It's just a journey. Life is just a journey. And your journey takes you in different directions. And some directions have nothing. Other directions have excitement and war. And you know what? And vengeance.
Right.
And if we coming from there, then vengeance is our name.
Damn right.
It says vengeance is of the Lord, but at least I get to take vengeance with the words that I speak.
Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying? At least that. Let me speak so that my brother can hear me, so that he may wake up and that he may be a soldier just like I've learned to be. Just like my brother Malakma has learned to be. Just like we hand in hand have learned to be. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the case, then I stand clear that this is where I'll be. This is what I'll do. And I don't think anything is ever going to stop me from continuing. You know what I'm saying? Because this is where we belong. And we belong waking up our people. Because if not this, then what?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Malakma, before we get out of here.
I was going to add, to what you're saying. Like, the brother right here said something heavy. He said, Khan, the brother Taza Aya Gabar. Khan, we need more Latinos and Raza platforms. Well, I'm going to tell you this, Carnal. We got them right here in the ISUPK. You got this one right here, the Inconvenient Truth, right? And then you got La Pura Neta every Monday night. So you got La Pura Neta every Monday night at 8:30, and you got the Inconvenient Truth every Wednesday night at 8:30. You know what I mean? We're going to have more. Lord allow, we're going to have a gang more. You know what I mean? But this is where the Latino platform is, right here with us, man. And we're going to be doing this work to raise our raza up. You know what I mean? Because we got to be honest. You know what I mean? The raza, right, is very carnal minded, right? And the Judite brother could tell you an Israelite, and you know, you going to think that he's crazy. You think he's being on something ignorant. You think he's trying to erase your identity. But this platform right here is the proof that it's nothing, that it's on the contrary. Right here, you're hearing it from the raza itself that you're an Israelite. that you're God's chosen people, man. That this is our cultura, our identity, man. That your ancestors were the descendants of the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel, man. That's our true identity, man. And the way you fight, the way to be a revolutionary is to learn that carnalismo that the Bible talks about, because that's what the Bible translates to, carnalismo. That's what the Most High is. That's what it means to love the Most High, is to love your carnal as yourself. If you love your carnal, you love the Most High. That's what it is. The Bible is the God of, the Bible is the God of the Bible is the God of the raza, the God of the vatos. That's where he's at, man. With us right here. And we teach it right here in the ISUPK and the Commanding General. So all of y'all, man, talk about, where's the love from the black community? Where's the support? It's right here. The black brothers in here support the raza, love the raza. And vice versa, right here. The support from the raza for the raza is in here in ISUPK. So for y'all out there listening, man, come to class. Learn this truth, man. You're listening. If you done stood here the whole time, heard us out, it's because the Lord gave you the ears to hear, man. So you're hearing this and understanding it. Come to class and learn the truth, man. And do the most revolutionary thing. Decolonize your mind by learning the truth of this Bible. And I know a lot of y'all, man, like that sounds like, like an oxymoron. But here's the biggest, decolonization tool that I could give you. The Bible is not the colonizer's book. There's nothing white about the Bible. The Bible is our story. And as we break it down and show you, you'll see the evidence, man. There's plenty of proof to show that we are the descendants of the Israelites of that Bible.
Absolutely.
Sir.
No, absolutely, man. We're gonna go ahead and bring it to a close here, but we want to thank everybody for jumping in and joining us. It's always, man, the ISUPK, the Inconvenient Truth, man. We're here to break down the problems that raza has in America, and you know what? That's what we're gonna be doing, because we gotta focus. Someone's gonna take charge. And you know what? We're going to do that, man. We're going to be the ones to bring out these issues, bring out the problems that raza has in America. And let me tell you something, man. We want brothers to join in. We don't want to be up here, like they say, you're preaching, right? Preaching to the choir.
Right.
It's not only about preaching to the choir, man. It's more than that. Sometimes raza got to jump in. Brothers got to jump in, man. And, we invite you to come on the show, man. And you know what? Sit down with us and put those points of views and bring those issues forward, man. Let's talk about it. Let's get it going. You know what I'm saying? Just let me know. Send us an invite on the comments. We'll put you on, man. We can all get in here. We can all talk about it, discuss these issues. We don't want it to be a one-way conversation.
Right.
We want to sit here and bring out the truth so that we all participate in this. So always, I always talk about, come on in the show, man. Let me know. Post it up, get me on the show, and I'll more than gladly send you an invite where you can jump on the show with us. Any comments, you know what I mean? Any opinions, man, more than welcome to bring it on the show with us, man. They're important. Your opinion and your comment is important on our show. It's called The Inconvenient Truth for a reason, man. Right. You know what I mean? Not everybody's going to agree with this, and we understand that.
Right.
But let me tell you something. We're here because we got to do it. Because if we don't speak out, who's going to speak out for us?
Right.
Who's going to talk about the problems we got in America? Who's going to talk about the solutions that we can bring as brothers to these problems that we got? You know what I'm saying? Every day, man, in America, something is going on with Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. And we're going to be the voice. We're going to be the ones to bring it out. Man, I want to thank everybody for joining us and for tuning in to The Inconvenient Truth. As always, man, every Wednesday, don't forget to join us on La Neta, our platform for Raza Radio. Every Monday, 8:30. Join us all on that platform. It's about maybe, I'm going to say 8-9 brothers who jump on to speak about the things that are going on. Jump in, man. Become a special guest on that show. Jump on, man. Let's talk. Let's make it work. Man, we ain't going to change nothing without a voice. And to be silent is to participate in what's going on.
Right.
It's to be part of the problem. So let's not be part of the problem, man. Let's be part of the solution. I want to thank everybody once again for joining us. Till next week, Shalom Yahawah Hashim Yahushai Barakatah to the brothers. Shalom Ilathat Hashim Yahushai to the sisters. Shalom Israel.
Shalom, Rasa.